I want to introduce you to Leap to Success. We are a women's empowerment organization based in Carlsbad, California, and our mission is to educate and empower women who are rebuilding their lives from domestic violence, homelessness, and other major challenges. And right now, like everyone else, we are not meeting, we are not holding our classes in person. So we've transitioned to online for everything that we do. And I'm just so glad that so many people can join us and give themselves the time. All of the women in our programs, we continue to provide support on a weekly basis. So I'm really glad that we can be this container of support for so many people. So this series, Self-Care in Stressful Times, is designed to give you some practical experience. We've usually been starting with a guided meditation and then giving you a practical tool or skill that you can use to recover, so that you can use to refresh yourself and recharge yourself in the middle of your day. But I want to share something with you before we dive in today. This is a card. They're called Power Thought cards. And actually, these are called Heart Thought cards. They look like this. They come in a nice little box. There's 64 of them, and they are a deck of affirmations by Louise Hay, who you might be familiar with. Who started a publishing company called Hay House, was just a real pioneer in the self-help and personal development arena. She passed away a few years ago, but she lived here in San Diego. What I want to share with you is this card that I chose just a little while ago. I pulled it out for inspiration, and here's what it says. And as I read this, take this in for yourself. I want to share it with you. It says, I am at the center of peace. So say that for yourself right now. You might even want to put your hand on your heart. I am at the center of peace. In peace I live and move and experience life. Because I keep myself centered in inner peace, I have peace in my outer world. I think we all know that we really can't change what's happening in the outer world, but we can change how we show up and we can change how we approach it. And that way, I think we really can change what's happening around us, and particularly with those people who we're in contact with, our friends, our families, the people we work with, and the people that we serve in our communities. I want to say a special thank you right now to our donors who, even though we're not meeting in the classrooms, have continued to support our online programs. So thank you if you're one of those people who contribute to Leap to Success to make this really important work of empowerment possible. I'd like to now introduce you to Alyssa, who is providing our technical support, and Alyssa will have some brief instructions for you about how to get the most out of this webinar. So here's Alyssa.
Hi, everyone. I'm super happy that you're able to join us today for Self-Care in Stressful Times. This is episode 13, I believe, so we are still going strong with this. If you would like to catch the replays of any of the other episodes, we have them in a couple of places. The first is on our YouTube channel, where we've created a playlist, and the second place is on our website, where we've compiled a self-care library. So I will be putting links for both of those in the chat. You can share them with your friends. You can revisit old episodes and continue to find support that way. The second thing is that we will have some interactive questions during today's seminar. And if you would like to be interactive with the other attendees on this call, then make sure your chat is set to all panelists and attendees before sending a message. Otherwise, only the panelists will be able to see your answers. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Alyssa, that's great. And today's topic is building resilience. So in this moment, when it's really difficult to carve out time for self-care, you may have wanted to start a practice, and you may even have wanted to start meditating, and you find that it's really difficult. You may have wanted to start an exercise program. You have these great intentions of spending 30 minutes or an hour a day, And you find that it's really just not possible right now, because making big changes is really hard. So what might be more possible for you is carving out little bits of time for self-care. And that's why I'm really excited for today's topic and for our special guest, who is Dana Shimkus, founder of Everyday Mindfulness in Encinitas, California. Diana's been trained through the University of Massachusetts Medical Center and other trainings. And for over 20 years, she's been actively studying, practice, and teaching mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is a great course that I've taken, and other mindfulness-related programs. She's devoted her life to the tenets of mindfulness in her personal and professional life, and she works diligently to offer mindfulness to all those who will benefit. Diana has been my mindfulness teacher. She's one of the wisest and most compassionate people that I know. So I'm really pleased to introduce you to my friend and teacher, Dana Shimkus.
Hello there, Dana. Hi there, Alyssa, and all the friends of Leap to Success. I'm so glad to be here today. I'd like to take a few minutes to just maybe hit on a few points. And actually my interest today, my largest interest, is to help you begin to build practices that done in small moments throughout the day are going to make you stronger. Resilience is something that includes very basic practices like mindfulness practices and self-compassion practices. And we're actually going to do a little bit of both in very small ways. But here's a few things I want you to know. We know that for sure, small moments repeated often build the greatest resources and strength. Small moments repeated often. And so rather than this idea of the practice taking 30 minutes, 20 minutes, an amount of time you cannot construct for yourself throughout the day, we now know, and the research is really supportive for us, we actually now know that these small moments, 10 to 20 breaths, offered throughout the day, a moment here, a moment there, even in transitions throughout your day, will change your life and change your brain for the better. And so I want to help cultivate some skills and practices with you today based on that primary premise. What we know then about resilience is a few things. We know that resilience is cultivated from 4 basic functions. And these are first recognizing what's true and how you are, that we know something about the mind body that's here right now, without judgment, without criticism, and then from my point of view, with gentleness and deep friendliness, that we check in, see how we are, just like when Dana put her hands on her heart, how am I doing in this moment right now, and honestly. So recognizing a critically important function. The second function that we know that is essential to resilience building is resourcing yourself, that you actually check in, know how you are, and then cultivate qualities, both internal, those things that you can draw on from within, and then external, those supports, resources, others that you can draw on to resource you so that you have a full well. What we know is if you do not have a full well yourself, you cannot then be most available to be of the greatest benefit and capacities that you are capable of. The other factor in resilience building is, besides resourcing, is regulating. That not only do we know how we are, get ourselves what we need, but actually there's an internal self-regulating mechanism always working that is working with you, even when you don't think so, to try to get us to be mediated, regulated, and then most stable, calm, and steadfast in our efforts. And this is a very important one. And then the fourth R in resilience is relating. We want to make sure that not only are we offering this to ourselves, but that from our skill building, we are both models, resources, and supports to others. And so this is, of course, the whole premise around which Leap to Success is built, and one I deeply support. We know then that resilience does a few things. It manages our circumstance. It allows us to check in, see what's happening, and manage what's happening for us, the challenges that we confront. It also protects us, guards us, offers us the capacity to say no, to set boundaries, to protect our vulnerabilities rather than exploit them ourselves and pushing past our current resource into areas that will cause us further depletion, distress, or harm. The other thing that I think resilience does well is recognizes where we are, as we said earlier, so that we can increase the supports and resources when needed. Rick Hansen, a friend of ours, wrote a book called Resilience, by the way. I'd highly recommend it. And the most important thing he said that I understood in the book, and then we're going to practice these, is that we want to take positive, passing experiences, moments of ease, moments of calm, moments of pleasantness, moments of joy, moments of connection, moments of strength, moments of capacity, wisdom, these passing moments. And by capturing them and then remembering them, we can recollect them. And in that way, begin to turn those passing moments in what we now know resilience does for us, which is cultivate lasting traits. And so I'm a cello player. If you could see over to the side, which you can't, you would see my cello with my music stand here in the corner. And I'm a weekend warrior cello player. And in fact, I can sometimes play for 2 or 3 hours. But what I've noticed is that getting the cello out every day and practicing for at least 15 or 20 minutes every day has actually built both my skills, my enjoyment, my capacity for playing in a much greater way. And so that's just one small example of how we can skill build not only external skills such as cello playing, exercising, working out, cultivating craft skills and hobbies. We can also build, more importantly, inner skills and strengths. And so I'd like to do that a little bit with you now. The thing that Rick Hansen said that I so appreciated was that we have to directly experience some sense of the skill before we can grow it. And so we're going to be practicing a few skills now, some practices that I do every day, actually myself, because once we experience calm, for example, recognizing that we're there, looking at the circumstances that have contributed to them, and then making commitments to practicing them every day is the way to strengthen resilience. And so I want to go find those practices for us. I think they'd be quite fun. The first one actually is one I do every day, and I call this one 10 to 20 soft belly breath practice. We could call that simply few minute practice, might be workable that way. But what we know from the research that I think is so valuable is that just 10 breaths can actually change our brain chemistry and the chemistry in the biology of our body sufficiently to invite the parasympathetic or relaxation response so that we can regulate, resource, and then begin to relate in a way. So why don't we start with a skill right now? And so I'd just like you to sit in a comfortable and upright way, not too stiff or tight. This is not having to force our inner dignity. It is something you already possess. We can keep the hands in the lap restfully. You can place them on the leg if that's comfortable for you. You can lower the eyes or close them, but close is never required. So never feel demanded upon or forced to do so. And we're just going to be still Soften the eyes, relax face, and notice that you're breathing. Noticing the rise of the body on the in-breath and the release on the out-breath. With each release on the out-breath, see if you can soften, soothe, dissolve, release just a little bit more. Imagine the whole of the upper body just softening and settling into the seat you've taken. Breathing in, knowing that breathing in, that's all. Feeling the uplift, the rise up, the inspiration, and on the out breath, relaxing. We're not forcing the breath. We're not trying to regulate the breath in any way. We're just letting the breath breathe us, knowing something about the experience. And right here, we're going to see if we can't directly experience the breath somewhere in the body between the chest and the abdomen. We've already got probably 10 breaths now. I'd like you to continue for just a few more. When thoughts arise, we simply let them float off like a cloud in the vast big sky. We don't have to grab them. We don't have to push them away. Enjoying the breath as best you can. We're going to take one more big, delicious, juicy breath, breathing in. And then a good out breath. Releasing and relaxing. That was probably 20 breaths. We know that with those 20 breaths offered first thing in the morning, then maybe right before rest or sleep, and then in a few captured breaths throughout the day, that you're going to actually change your brain for the better. It's going to be in these moments of dropping into the body breath that the mind and body join. They come together into a wholeness that is going to actually invite us to be our best selves, no matter what else is happening. And so that's a practice, 10 to 20 soft belly breaths, and one that I do every single day, probably for 600 breaths. I've been practicing a long time. So I take moments of transition. I take moments before I'm speaking, just like I did today. I take moments afterward to grab at least a group of these breaths, gather, collect, and settle myself so that I can be most whole, most complete as I go on to the next task. The next practice is hand dancing. This is a practice that I developed. Really, we made it up in a mindfulness cancer support group, particularly for people who were going into MRIs. We're going to be stuck in a confined place and would start to think about those procedures and those treatments before they even arrived. And they left their bodies going off into the future and consequently became quite distressed. So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to lower this a little just so you can see me a little bit more, but we're going to take our hands and then we're going to place those hands gently, slowly, resting them on your legs, on the top thigh, somewhere there. You're going to lower the eyes once again. And then find the breath in the body. And then on the next in-breath, you're going to take the right hand and raise it gently in time to the in-breath, only for the length of the in-breath. And then on the out-breath, you're going to gently lower it. And then we're going to move to the left hand, lifting with the in, placing with the out. Then we're going to go to the left big toe, gently lifting. Don't have to lift much on the in-breath, feeling the sensations and placing gently on the out-breath. And then going to the right toe, lifting, placing. And then we're going to go to both hands on the next in-breath, lifting on the in-breath, placing on the out-breath. Letting the breath determine the movement. And then we're going to take both the left and right feet, and on the next in-breath, lifting the big toes on the in-breath, placing them gently, kindly on the out-breath. And for the final breath, we're going to lift all four, hands and toes, lifting on an in-breath and placing on an out-breath. That's the hand dance. It's actually no mandated way of moving. If for some reason, for example, you were more comfortable doing the left hand first, that would be just fine and perfect. This is just one way to employ both the movement center of the brain, the language center of the brain as you're thinking in, out, lift, place, as well as placing your complete attention. You may notice that you didn't actually have as many thoughts happening during the hand dance as you did during the 10 to 20 soft belly breath practice. We're going to do one more practice and then we're going to complete. The next practice is actually the self-compassion break. This is the one I've been practicing most currently in these unpredictable and uncertain times. And that practice actually is just recognizing a moment of distress or challenge, feeling it in the body with a tension, a tightness. The shoulders can rise up, the jaw can tense, the hands can even grip. Often the belly, right, can grip. We can stop breathing, actually not even breathe, and resource ourselves with our very own breath. And so the self-compassion break is actually recognizing this moment of difficulty, moment of distress, just capturing it, and rather than go off into further judgment, rather than condemn, rather than be harsh with oneself, rather than make assumptions that you have to get over it, you can't feel or be how you are, we simply allow. And I like to use the hand again, just placing it on my own heart, offering myself this allowing moment, and then offering myself gently a kind word. And that word might be something as simple as, I'm all right now. I can accept myself exactly as I am. It's okay to be in this distress in difficult times. No matter how this moment is going, I will be most present and available to myself now and in the next. My son, who's someone who practices moment-to-moment mindfulness often, he's 28 years old now, actually lifts his finger to signal to others, I just need a moment for myself. In this moment, we can be on our own side. And I think this is most critical and important, especially now in these challenging and uncertain times. I want you to remember once again that that which we practice in small moments throughout the day, every day as best we can, is what is going to grow greater capacities for calm, for steadfastness, for patience, for fortitude, perseverance, flexibility, and resilience. I hope this is helpful for you today. I've enjoyed being here and sharing these practices that I actually also do every day. Please go to everydaymind.com and encinitasmindfulness.org. We have a whole list of audio and video practices available there. You may see others that might be in some way helpful to you. If there's any other way I can help, please let me know. You can email me at diana@everydaymind.com. I'm so happy to be here with you lovely ladies from Leap to Success. And Dana, thank you so much for letting me be here with you today.
Diana, thank you so much for sharing your compassion and your wisdom with us. You know, as I was practicing each of these, I just felt this wave of calm come over me. And you just teach with so much gentleness. So thank you for sharing with our Leap to Success community. And I'd like to send a question out to everyone who is watching right now. And Alyssa has just posted it in the chat. And this relates to the self-compassion practice that Diana just shared with us. And the question is, what self-compassion gift can you give yourself by a word or a phrase? So what's something that comes to your mind right now that you need to hear to nurture yourself, to shower yourself with self-compassion? Go ahead and add those into the chat, and I will read them off and share them with our community for everyone who is watching this webinar. So, Diana, I was thinking as you were talking, the phrase for me sometimes can just be, you know, I'm okay right now. I'm okay right now. And here I see them flooding in right now from our friends. Someone is saying, I am calm. Someone else is saying, it's okay just to rest. I think we all need to hear that one and give ourselves the time that we need to rest. From someone else, I am enough. Oh, and this is beautiful. I am enduring and lovable. Oh, let's all try that one. And how about just the short phrase, I am lovable, and with our hands on our heart, I am lovable. See how try that one on for size. Okay, they are flooding in right now. I see, I am more than the work I must finish. Boy, it sounds like you might be working on a grant deadline like I just was. Thank you. Here's another, I'm doing my best. And another, I am worthy. That's really important. And another, I am capable of overcoming challenges. And here's one that, Diana, I think you would approve of this one 110%. It's okay to not be okay. Because in these unsettling times, we're not okay. And what's happening around us is not okay. So just giving ourselves permission and recognizing that this is where we are right now and that it's okay. And I think through that recognition, there's a sense of relief and a sense of, you know, with relief, we can move through those feelings. And what I know about feelings and emotions is that they are always moving through us, just like water flows. And I think that's something really important to keep in mind. And someone else is sharing, I don't need to start over. I can just keep going. And I think I'll hold on to that one as I go into our closing here. I'm so glad that you could join us today and that you could give yourself this break. If this webinar has been helpful to you, please share it with your friends and with your colleagues. Go to our Leap to Success YouTube channel. Alyssa's created a playlist today. As of today, we'll have 13 episodes on it, and you'll see all of the topics that we covered. You know, originally we started this series thinking, well, we're probably going to have this shelter in place, you know, maybe for a few weeks or so. We had no idea, like, you know, you did, that this was going to continue, but we're really pleased to have so much participation and really to be able to provide something of benefit to our community. So thank you again for joining with us today, and be well, my friends. Bye-bye.